Hello, this is Jeremy from Jambalaya Plays Games, and we're here with Daniel Zayas from the Daniel Zayas Company. He's talking about When Cutie Met Patootie. All right, which is heading to Kickstarter again really soon. But let's just get into the game, and we'll talk about that later.
Sure. Yeah, so When Cutie Met Patootie is a resource management point-to-point movement game. It plays 1 to 4 players in about 30 to 45 minutes.
Okay.
What you're looking at now is a 3 to 4 player map variation.
Okay.
What happens in a 2-player game is you'll add 2 more visitors to this map, so it'll extend out and build a bigger map.
Okay.
And then solo is all 10 of these alien visitors, and that makes the biggest map.
All right.
We found in testing that it actually works out better to have a tighter map to put the anticipation in for, or build in this pressure for more players.
Okay.
But we've also found that the solo game benefits from a larger map because solo gamers really want to grok out that puzzle, right? So it's a little counterintuitive, right? A lot of games will expand based on more players.
Right,
My game shrinks with more players.
Okay.
Which is I think a good thing. Okay, so in When Cutie Met Patootie, you are going to take the role of a citizen. So I'll just show you real quick here.
Wow. Here, I'll come
some of these citizen cards.
Oh, look at these.
Yep.
Yeah.
These are the citizens of Kodiak Harbor.
Okay.
If you actually look close at the Amelia card, that's actually where the harbor is. That's not relevant to the gameplay, just a big part of the story, right? Yeah. You're going to take the role of a citizen, and on their citizen card, you're going to see these 3 colors of gems. These are the 3 colors of gems actually that will get you points.
Okay.
No other. There's only 2 other colors of gems, so like the white and the blue do not get Grandma Flora points.
Okay.
Okay. So what you're doing in this game, this is a secret role that you will have in the game. What you're doing is you're moving up these characters to the point scoring region, which will be the top 3 spaces.
Okay.
Okay. If any character makes it up to those spots, they're considered point scoring.
Okay. At
the end of the game, when the characters have made it to the top or not, because there's a way that they get captured by a flood.
Okay.
If once the end of the game happens, the characters who made it to the top, we're going to grab all of their gems. We're also going to add in the gems that they have.
Okay.
As their starting gems, so we're going to add that to the piles, and then we're going to see who has the most gems at the end of the game. Okay. Okay. So how does that all work?
Right.
Okay. So on your turn, you only have 2 options. You can advance, or you can spend path cards, which again, these are like dual use cards. Okay. So the same exact cards here are you actually spend in your hand to give characters more gems. Yep. So if I spend this card here, all 3, or there will be 3 reds that I can add to the board any way I want.
Okay, so those are the actual. Okay, so those are the actual chips.
These are the spaces.
Board.
These are the spaces that they can hold gems.
Okay.
And then so I can move up here as an example. I can move into this space right here. Okay. Okay. And by doing so, if you follow the path, I've crossed over a yellow, which means I need to spend a yellow to get there.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. So you can optionally spend, if you need to, you can spend any 2 gems to match the one that you need. Okay. Right. So I don't have a red here, right? But I can move into this spot by spending any 2 gems.
Yes.
Okay. So that's an advancing.
That's okay.
There's some special rules. If there's a character on the card, they get to move into that spot for free if they match the character. Okay. So in this situation, let's just say I had somehow ended up right here, right? This isn't possible in this map, but just as an example, I would be able to actually move into this spot for free because Blanche is on this card here. Oh, okay. So I don't have to spend the 2 resources to advance into this spot. Right. Okay. Okay. So, and this is just like a random generated map. Yes. Right. So it just depends on how it all lays out. In this specific game, Thaden actually is on a path to having a freebie here, so that's actually pretty good. And then the closer they are to the center, the more variation they actually have with whether they can get to those spots that are for free. I'm going to explain a little more about giving characters gems, because that actually leads into the floods that we're talking about. Whenever you spend a card, you have the option of spending a card that has the character on it. So this one here has Amelia on here, so the same character, Amelia. And if you only give if you only give these three gems to Amelia, that's considered gathering quickly, right?
Okay.
So you're gathering the resources quickly. It's an efficient spend of the card.
Okay.
And if you give all 3 of these gems and you give them all to Amelia, then nothing bad happens.
Okay.
Wow, just the same. There's and then you draw a card, and that would be your turn, right? If you spend the gems any other way, so if I were to spend that card and then give maybe 2 of these to Amelia and 1 of these to Blanche, or spread them all out to different characters, right? If I spend the card any other way, then what happens is we will flip over a rewind timer card.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
So a rewind timer card is built in such a way that there's 5 to start on this map because there's 5 cards in this row. Okay. Once all of the flood cards are revealed, right? These are all going to be the same, but once all the flood cards are revealed, what will happen is any character who is on this spot or this spot are actually going to be removed from the game. Okay, so they're captured by Rewind, who is causing this flood. Okay, and then what will happen is we will wipe this row here of cards, and any characters who are left over, right? So let's just say there are some characters who are left over, and these ones are not. We'll remove them from the game and their gems, and then we would wipe this here, and I'll actually just wipe it right now. But you just wipe this card, and then what you're left with is the remaining map.
Wow.
Okay, and it starts to get brutal because think about it in this way. There's a such thing as an automatic flood. The timer keeps up with itself. So let's say that there's only 4 revealed, and this isn't actually flooded yet, right? We still have these cards out. Okay. But all of the characters, and one thing I didn't mention is there's only 2 characters allowed on every card, so it does bottleneck the more you save. So the better you're doing, the harder it gets for you to keep saving them. If there's 4, and all of these characters have advanced past the space, what will actually happen is we will just actually remove it anyway. Okay, so we'll remove it anyway, but now there's only 4 on the timer because there's only 4 cards in this row, which means that by doing that, you would have actually caused a double flood. There is such thing as the game winning against you.
I love that when the game wins against you.
The game can beat you, and if all the characters are removed from the board, then no one gets points and the game wins. Right? Rewind has won in the character sense, right? Okay. In the lore. But let's say that other characters had moved past that point at this point, then what would happen is all these characters would be removed because this, again, is the timer. We would wipe this one, then you have the last 3 rows left, right? And I'd remove this rewind card, and then we'd start over with the timer, right? And then as you spend efficiently or inefficiently, right, these cards, then you would actually progress the game again until the last characters are on these last 3 spots in a 3 to 4 player game. In the 1 to 2 players, both those versions, it's actually the top 3 rows because the map is bigger, and you need more characters to fit on these spaces.
Wow, this is a really good overview. Wow, this is very simple to learn. And actually, the decisions kind of ramp up because the game is pressing you. I like that. Can you just tell us a little bit more about what's coming to Kickstarter? I know it was on Kickstarter. Just tell us a little bit of details of what you're doing.
So I am, if anything, I'm a fan of the experimenting with the way Kickstarters run, right? So I do that with clients, like to some degree. I do that with my own projects, right? So one gamble that I took in the original Kickstarter campaign was that if we raised a certain amount of money, I would add minis to the game. And I priced the game in such a way that would make sense because $40 for 10 pre-painted miniatures in the game would be a steal, right? However, because it didn't fund quickly, there was no ramp up of support for getting to that goal. So what I'm doing actually is I'm just gonna, this is the first published game under this company, so I'm very okay with not tempering my enthusiasm, but like letting the game be what it is, right? And I'm going to lower the price $10, which is going to be great, I think, for the campaign. So it's going to be.
I'm sorry, which was?
It was $39 before. Now it's going to be $29. So it's going to be $29 to back the campaign. It's actually going to come with meeples with stickers on them, so it's actually going to be still look cool, still tactile experience.
People really appreciate that because sometimes people don't care about minis. They just kind of go like, this can be done with little meeples, right?
Yeah, and the meeples are going to be chunky, nice wooden meeples. These guys here that you saw in the prototype version are actually going to be acrylic gems, like if you remember from Diamonds or games like that with the jagged gems sort of look.
Yeah.
And then what else? I think so these are going to be meeples. The cards are going to be like the best quality cards. I'm a big fan of white core over black core actually.
Oh, okay.
So there's 350 white core. I'm getting technical now. I work for a manufacturer.
Yeah, I know.
But C2S is a thing where you have like two white cores glued together, and that's like two thin white cores glued together, and it actually provides a better card play experience.
Okay.
Most people have a misconception that black core is the higher quality, but it's actually just a remnant from like Vegas. Like Vegas, they need it for cheating purposes. But I am a big fan of C2S white core cards, and these are actually going to have UV coating on it, so it's actually going to feel like a plastic card. So it's going to have like a lot of great stuff. So.
Okay. Well, thank you for sitting down and talking with us about this game. When is it coming back to Kickstarter?
Yeah, so next week actually is going to be when it launches. So I'm planning on Tuesday. I told people on Kickstarter that it's going to be Tuesday, so I'm trying to get to that point. I'm 99% sure it's going to launch next week on Tuesday.
That's what date is that?
That'll be the 19th, I believe.
All right, party people, stay tuned. The 19th. This is Daniel Zayas from the Daniel Zayas Company.
Right.
Yeah. And we just talked about when Cutie made Patootie. So stay tuned. And also stay tuned for Jambalaya Plays Games for more coverage from Origins.